Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or at least, I guess, the four people that are going to end up listening to this. This is R&R, brand new channel. It's just a couple of guys sitting down, talking about random stuff, everything under the sun. I'm Ruben. With me is my beautiful and sexy co-host, Roman.
Hi.
He's a dirty Russian. Don't listen to him. Basically, we are going to be talking about anything under the sun, really, anything that we find prevalent in today's society, and get a discussion going. We want people to ask us questions. We want the community to be a part of this. And basically, we're trying to get a non-biased opinion and discussion on all different kinds of subjects. Is basically what we're trying to do. So, today, for our very first video, we wanted to talk about what's going on with YouTube and the demonetization of different videos and mainstream media attacking different YouTubers, because it's kind of it's a debacle, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and to bring a point here, one of the reasons we started a channel now is the whole point of this whole thing, before we get into it, is try to bring YouTube down, and specifically alternative news sources, if you will, down. And I don't really think people need to kind of follow that. So if people want to speak their mind, if people want to say what they want to say and discuss what they want to discuss, they should be able to. Like, yeah, it's going to be rougher now, obviously, but now more than ever is the right time to start this sort of thing.
You kind of said that bring YouTube down. We're not trying to bring YouTube down. We're talking about mainstream. Well, it could be misconstrued that you said that. Bring down the fucking thing. I don't know. Bring it all down, man. No, so we're talking about mainstream media trying to bring down YouTubers and YouTube as a whole, because, well, I mean, this is just our opinion. We don't have any actual evidence to support these claims, but from what we can construe from the evidence that we have, or not the evidence that we have, but the information that has been gathered, excuse me, it just seems like mainstream media is, what's the word that I'm looking for?
They're concerned.
Not threatened by YouTube.
I think they're concerned. I mean, it's a point to make. So,
yeah.
Approximately the average demographic of people that watch, let's say, television, read newspapers, is about 50. Like, if you factor in everything, TV shows and TV channels and newspapers and even the sites of these newspapers, and mainstream media specifically is like on the drop of how many views they get, how much money they make off of that, even how much hits their website make. Like, their ranking dropped in the last year from being ranked like 400 to being ranked 500.
Or like 470, something like that.
Yeah, like, it's a big drop. And like, I kind of understand that, let's call it old media. And old media is concerned because in old media you have these huge organizations, right? And there's somebody controlling the narrative. There's somebody that decides what does go up and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, in comparison, when you look at YouTube, you have a bunch of individuals who are doing this. Like, nobody is checking this. Nobody's telling people what to talk about. Nobody's telling people what opinion they should have. Everybody's speaking their mind, and nobody has any control over it. Like, nobody can tell you, no, you can't talk about that, stop. Because it's your own decision. You upload the video. And again,
you're still going to feel the repercussions of whatever you talk about, of course.
Yeah.
But at least you're saying it in the first place.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they have no control. And they're kind of like losing to this. It's not just YouTube, it's also Twitter, social media, sites like Mind.com, Vid.me.
Yeah.
That they're actually, they're functioning as an alternative news source that is unbiased. That's people talking. Like, you don't have to listen to one newspaper and just take their word for it. You can listen to a bunch of people talking about the same subject from all different spectrum of opinions and political views and whatever, and you can get a better picture of what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, that scares them, what I think is, first of all, financially, because they are losing financially in the past couple of years. So that's a view count and money they made and stock value of general mainstream media organizations like Wall Street Journal and Daily Mail and Guardian, et cetera, is dropping while platforms like YouTube are rising.
Exponentially.
Yeah, they're getting a lot more views, a lot more people are watching alternative, not even just alternative news channels, but like people like PewDiePie, for example, that took a huge hit. And like, this is something we want to talk about because it's old news by now, like it's nothing new, but he was just assaulted to a point where like you don't even have to know him to know that this is bullcrap. Honestly, you can just be on YouTube for a bit, never watch any of his videos, see headlines that are basically saying like, oh, PewDiePie is a Nazi, he's an anti-Semite, he's promoting neo-Nazi movements. You can just watch a couple of these videos and just see like it's a goof making comedy stuff and playing video games.
Yeah.
And he's been turned into this scapegoat by the mainstream media in a very coordinated and unbased attack. And the thing we need to think about here is why.
Also, more recently, the Slingshot channel. He's German, right?
I think so.
Yeah. The Slingshot channel guy, I love him to death. I think he's hilarious. I've watched not a lot of his videos. I've seen a few. But basically he gets this stab-proof jacket and then stabs it and goes, hey, it's not actually stab-proof. And they slammed him. What was it, Daily Mail that wrote that article? They absolutely slammed him. This disgusting... Yeah, bring it up. This Google blood money. Web giant cashes in on vile 7-minute video showing knife expert, quote-unquote, penetrating a stab vest like the one worn by murdered Westminster police. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and this is just dumb. Like, just from the headline, you can see this is ridiculous because...
And this guy, was it Simon Murphy or Andrew Young that wrote the article a couple of years ago where they snuck knives onto a plane? Yeah, and they made a video about it.
And like, if anything is not... Now, the point about this, right, the point they're trying to make, if you read the article, is that he is providing information, like, just listen how ridiculous this sounds, information for terrorist groups on how to effectively attack police officers. Like, how do you make that leap of judgment? Like, I don't understand. Like, even if you look at the headline, okay, web giant cashes in a vile 7-minute video showing Nike expert penetrating a stab vest. Okay. Like the one worn by murdered Westminster PC. How is that even connected? Is it the same vest? Did he purposely say this is the vest taking like that police are wearing? No, like his point was he ordered a vest off of Amazon that was supposed to be stab proof. And then he showed like, look, this is not stab proof, this is a like fraudulent product, and stabbed it and showed, and even explained later on because it has aluminum plates. More than anything, it's more like it's something informative to help police.
Yeah, like don't use this product because it's probably gonna get you killed, buddy.
Exactly, and like this is a long string of stuff. So like there's PewDiePie, like channels like Secular Talk and David Pakman Show, that
to name just a couple.
Yeah, and those two channels are shown on their own because their videos aren't being demonetized, aren't being directly attacked. Their videos are still monetized, but for some reason they are not making any money at all. I mean, the David Pakman Show, over the course of between April 1st and 4th, had about 1.5 million views, which is a lot. They made 34 cents before the whole split between them and YouTube and taxes and whatever. Surprisingly, you do get taxes on that little amount of money. And it just seems like it's like
because they're using their medium. Like,
well, yeah,
YouTube is providing the service.
Yeah,
he's just providing the content, but he's still using their service, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But,
and the thing is, what that is like, so, and this is just a recurring thing. Like, a lot of YouTubers have been personally attacked, and it's like sort of like this effort by mainstream media, I think, not only to attack YouTubers, but to attack the platform and single out people and sort of make an example, single out people and make an example out of them to kind of like prove the point. And a good point to show this, like they're not just reporting news or something, like with the whole PewDiePie thing, for example, and this is widely known by this point, They didn't go to him first for like some sort of response or
They
talk
went to him after the fact.
Yeah, which is like journalism 101. You make some sort of statement about somebody, you go and talk to them. The first thing they did is target his sponsors, is target the way he's making money. So, on a very basic kind of level, they're not trying to report news, they're trying to hurt this person. Otherwise, why would they go to his sponsors and his livelihood first before even getting a response from him about all this?
Well, but that, like, it's not, look, they're not trying to make news. Like, they're not looking for news anymore. They're looking for clicks. It's clickbait. It's all clickbait. They want clicks on their website. They want traffic. They want traffic on their website so they can make money. So kill two birds with one stone.
But I think it's beyond that. I mean, mainstream media.
It's all about money, baby. It's all.
But
about
no, I mean,
money.
mainstream media has been known to kind of like use clickbait titles lately, because there's a thing on the websites that as soon
it's
as
not
you,
lately. It's clickbait.
well, lately for the past years, I mean.
No, but I mean that thought that we have nowadays of clickbait. We call it clickbait now, but those headlines that grab you, they've been using that since, the town crier.
Well, sure, that's true. There is
that's the oldest trick in the book.
like it's a type
Literally.
of like you have different headlines for articles in journalism. One of them is sort of one that's supposed to kind of grab the eye and make some sort of
Outlandish statement.
yeah, exactly. That always existed, but there's a difference between trying to like embellish the article itself and between just straight up lying or making things up. You know what I mean? Like you can sort of bolster something to make it sound more interesting, or you can just make a false statement, which has been happening for a long time. So I think it's beyond that, because they've been doing that for a while, but now they're using
I think
that.
it's kind of always been happening. It's just now we have the ability to fact check more readily with the internet and with how connected everything is.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Because some like 15, 20 years ago, somebody could make some bullshit statement, and people would go, oh well, you might be right, and and they'd have to go, go to the library or do their own heavy research, and who wants to do that? Nowadays, you've got someone making this outlandish statement, and people are busting out their smartphones saying the guy's full of shit before he's even done with his sentence. It's mind-boggling. It's just the fact that nowadays we have the ability to check. That's all it is.
I really think it's beyond that. Like news corporations, let's call it that, have always they always try to maximize the amount of views they get, try to maximize the amount of traffic they get.
Well, of course.
But I think the difference.
If it's making you money, why not try to maximize what's making you money? Come on.
Yeah, that's true. But the point is like.
Oops! I accidentally sat on the dog. Oh no.
No, she's right. We have a dog here.
She's being very good.
Yeah, she is. I know, the point with that is, like, so back then, it's like, yeah, you make this outlandish, sort of
Statement.
not the top of the article.
Headline.
Headline.
Silly Russian. How do you say headline in Russian? In по-русски.
I don't remember, honestly.
You don't remember? You're a terrible Russian.
Also, English isn't my first language, there comes some slack.
I really hope we get some Russian listeners just so you guys can just tear them apart in the comments. Please.
Bring it up.
Comrade Roman, what? Go back to Bitfi. Such is life.
Why you not drive tractor?
Why you not drive truck?
What do you do on interwebs? As I was saying, and there's a difference between like having a sort of a well-trusted, reputable news source, let's say Wall Street Journal or Daily Mail, which there have been that, like that's how they got to the point where they got today, and New York Times, etc., which were trusted news sources. They were like straight up journalism. So yeah, sometimes they may.
Now journalism is dead.
Pretty much, I think so too, and it's sad to see because journalism has always been known as sort of like the watchdog of democracy, right? And the whole point of it was like whatever the news is, whatever's happening, they make a neutral statement or article or anything about it without considering any sort of agendas or considering their own agenda or some political party's agenda. They're just reporting news and that's it.
Well, that was the thought. That was the. I don't want to go so far as to say facade, but
I really think that's how it was until a certain point.
meh. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that.
But no, the thing is, now it's well beyond that. Like, it's not just bolstering articles, it's just straight out clickbaiting. Clickbaiting as in just putting some sort of headline that attracts the eye and having an article that's either just completely false or unrelated to the headline.
Yeah.
What do I keep forgetting? To the headline itself. And that's kind of like, that makes me ask why. So, okay, you want to make more money, you make some sort of clickbait title, okay. But when you get to the point where like, you're straight up lying, or making false statements, or you're just, I don't know, like saying one thing and then talking about another thing just to attract people, how can you honestly call yourself a journalist? Like, I remember this one thing I saw a while ago. There was one journalist that was supposed to talk about Kylie Jenner or one of those people, I don't even know, I don't follow that, getting a boob job, right? And the article they wrote was hilarious. We'll link it. It was just about, like, is a rant about, like, he came into journalism to be a journalist. And he ends up sort of having to do this article and getting, like, specific guidelines on things he has to say and the way he has to say it, and things he has to say about Kylie Jenner, just saying, like, I've had it with this crap. This is not why I became a journalist. This is not journalism. This is straight up clickbait. And this isn't, like, some tabloid. This is, like, a reputable news source.
And the guy probably got fired the next day, right?
He quit. Like, the end of his article is like, quit. Fuck all of you. I'm not going to work here anymore. This is all disgraceful. Just screw yourselves. I quit. This isn't journalism. This is a point to make. Like,
Good for him.
And there's a sort of journalistic decline now. And I'm, like, honestly thinking, as a journalist, as somebody who, like, you study journalism, that's what you wanted to do ever since you got into college, and it's a hard field to get into. And you eventually competitive. After years and years of working on some low-paying jobs or websites or blogs or whatever, and eventually you make it to, like, a sort of like a really well-reputed news source. And when you get there, you're like, okay, so make these clickbait titles. Like, how, as a journalist, are you okay with that? And, like, taking it one step further, when you're told to make articles that aren't just clickbait anymore, like with the case with YouTube, but like directly attacking people, and we can see that a lot.
With just outright lies.
Yeah, there was, like, the case with Milo, what was his last name?
Yiannopoulos?
Milo Long
something
forgive us.
Greek. Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, and he made some statements about pedophilia that weren't that outlandish. Honestly, that's debatable, but there was, like, a coordinated media attack to just slander him. Like, I mean, if you want to review
well, he was already a hot topic, hot button.
It's a questionable
before
person.
That.
And again, it doesn't matter, like, I think, it doesn't matter what this person is there for. It doesn't matter what he stands for. As
I apologize for the coughing, by the way. I'm a little under the weather.
Me smoking all over the place doesn't help.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, open the window.
No, so Milo Yiannopoulos, you have to understand, he had a lot of enemies from the get-go. So then when he finally said something that people could really latch on to, because a lot of it, controversial, he had a lot of controversial ideas and the way that he speaks to people, sure, but you couldn't really take the guy down brick by brick. But then when he started talking about that whole pedophilia thing it was the Joe Rogan podcast. Shout out to my boy Joe. I did the chest pound. That was painful. No, so when he finally, yeah, right. Bronchitis? Punch yourself in the chest. What could go wrong?
Such is life in Soviet Russia.
Such is life. So when Milo finally said something that people could really latch onto, oh, you got the dogs coming out going, yes.
And see, and that's something, I have no problem with that. Like, if you're an individual and you don't like him, you're more than allowed to go out and say whatever you want against him, right? But this isn't private people doing this. This isn't individuals. These are
entire media outlets.
Yes. This, like, supposedly...
Like, he lost his book deal. Yeah. He lost a lot of sponsorships. Did he lose his job?
Yeah, he lost his job, and he was supposed to talk in...
he was supposed to talk in a bunch of different places, but that was way before this.
Yeah, and it was all canceled.
Where they like, not rioted, not boycott. They protested. That's the word. So they protested him speaking at, what was it, Yale University? I forget what it was. I have my own gripes about that. because it's like, okay, you know, you may disagree with somebody, but like to completely cut off their voice, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, at least let the man speak so you can have some kind of medium in which you can have an intelligent conversation, you know? And if you see Milo speak, like, I don't agree with most of the things that he says. I don't agree with, like, something like 80% of what he has to say. It really depends on the subject. I'm not going to get into it now. But if you see him speak, any person that has a problem with him at one of his events, he'll let them speak. Like, he will let them say whatever they want, and that's the way to do it, you know. And then he'll go and rip them a new one.
Sure, but that's the point. Like
in a good way or not, whatever. That's
but that's
debatable.
Point,
he's an asshole, but so are we. Honestly,
like, even if you're a dick, even if you make statements that a lot of people don't agree with, and I don't agree with a lot of things he's saying either, you still get the right to say whatever you want, and people still get the right to criticize you. But there's a difference between having some sort of debate and between having mainstream media directly attack you, and the whole thing was just like coordinated to a fault. Like, you have like 10 different articles dropping at the exact same time, pretty much, against him.
Did they drop at the exact same time?
Pretty much.
Where are the articles? At what time?
It was the same day.
It was the same day, yeah, but it was probably like the day after he said that, so that's, you know, that's understandable. That
but it was like, it was just weird
because
how
once
they
again,
all
it's a hot button. People know who he is. People want to hear what's going on. So of course they're all going to talk about it. It's not like it's a coordinated strike against one person. It's that they're all chomping at the bit.
Sure. And again, like, as I'm saying, my problem here is they're not pushing, saying, again, like, as a news source, you're supposed to neutrally, what's the word I'm looking for? Review. If you talk about something as a mainstream media news source, you need to be neutral about it. You should, like, serve the facts
unbiased.
as they are. Exactly. You need to be unbiased about it. But when you have mainstream media news sources, like, very clearly against what somebody's saying,
very obviously,
and very clearly trying to shut somebody up, that's not okay. He may be an ass, you may not agree with him, but he has the right to talk. And mainstream media isn't the one that's supposed to go out of their way to shut him up. And again, there's like an article we brought up here from the Huffington Post. Reminder: boycotting Milo Yiannopoulos, I'm saying that right, publisher, is not censorship. Will have a chilling effect on free expression? Maybe. But so does hate speech. So this is basically saying, and without even getting into the article...
I love that. So does hate speech, saying that he promotes hate speech.
Yeah, but that's kind of saying, we're not agreeing with what he says, we want to take away his right to talk. And they're even saying, like, will this have a chilling effect on free expression? Maybe, but we don't care. Because we want to call him out on what he's doing. Now, that doesn't sound like a newspaper. That doesn't sound like a news organization. That sounds like some angry guy on Twitter.
Yeah, honestly.
And when...
But so does hate speech.
But that doesn't matter. I can say whatever I want. Anybody can say whatever they want. Right? You can agree, you can disagree. You can debate them, you can call them out. You can try to compare facts. You can try to do something about it. But you can't just attack the person. You can't just try to shut him up. That is not how free speech works.
But on a parallel note, where, like, to quote Milo, right? And show me, like, please, if anyone actually listens to this, it's just two people ranting, I understand that, and it's probably annoying as hell. But please, if anybody listens to this, I haven't listened to a lot of what Milo has to say, but, like, quote his hate speech. Please, let me know. Like, what has he said that can actually be construed as hate speech? Does he say to go off and kill the Jews? Does he say that Palestine shouldn't exist? Does he say that we should wipe North Korea off the map? Like, what does he say that equates hate speech? Please help me out here, people. I'm so confused.
No, and that's a good point to make. And I think this is sort of like a part of, I mean, let's talk about extreme liberalism for a second here. Now, personally, I'm...
Oh, no.
We're gonna talk about it.
We're opening up the snake pit.
We're gonna get demonetized before we even got monetized.
Kill the channel before it starts, why don't you? This is what I have to deal with, people.
And this like it's personally, I'm more of a on the left spectrum. Honestly, like I'm more of like a liberal socialist if I had to define myself.
He's a Russian communist, people.
Hey, liberal.
Hey, liberal.
Liberal.
Sorry.
And like what
that
stands for in general is freedom of speech and sort of like the unification of society, to put it in one line. But that means basically more than any other...
You're a Bernie Sanders supporter, aren't you?
Not really, he's an idiot. I don't like him. What can I do?
No, he's silly.
But, and the point here is...
I like him as a person.
Like, this is the last sort of platform that you associate yourself with where you should be shutting people up, where you should be burning books of somebody because you don't agree with them, when like you harness mainstream media somehow to work for your agendas. Like, that's not liberalism, that's not socialism. Socialism is everybody is equal.
Yeah. The only book that you can...
Not like we are equal, but the people that don't agree with us aren't, so we're going to assault them in every way possible. That just goes against like the whole idea of that thing. And I feel like just liberal... How should we call this? Let's call this far left liberal groups. What they're doing is just against liberalism itself. Just straight up.
In their crusade to give everyone a voice, they have silenced everyone that they could.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're saying, like, okay, I'm liberal, I'm for free speech, but this person is saying things that I personally do not like, so he should not talk. Right? But you classify it as hate speech or racism or misogyny or any of those things as an excuse. Again, like, we're still looking at this article. Will it have a chilling effect on free speech? Maybe. That kind of sounds more like fascism than it does like liberalism. Not even conservatism, but like saying we may do things as people that put down free speech, but that's fine. How is that fine?
Yeah.
That's something I truly don't understand. Like, how can you go by a certain agenda, then break one of the main things about that agenda? Every person is important. Every person is an individual, has the right to say whatever he wants. Yes, there could be repercussions to what you say, but nobody at any point can say, you need to stop talking. We're going to hurt whoever's financing you. We're going to hurt your livelihood. We're going to make sure you stop talking and you shut up.
Because we are offended by what you say, or we don't agree with what you say.
That's not liberalism. That's just being whiny, honestly.
It goes beyond being whiny. Being whiny is bitching about those things via Twitter or some other such nonsense like Facebook or whatever. That's getting it. That's crossing that fine line into fascism.
It's my
and people aren't making that connection, and it really bothers me. Like, it's unsettling. It's a slippery slope that we're going down.
And it's gotten to like a troubling point. Like some things I read about lately. This is something that really pissed me off. Like, I need to take a second here, but there was in the
he's
province,
actually got his head in his hands.
And like there was like in the province of Victoria in Australia, there was like this proposed program. Remember I told you that?
Oh my goodness.
That kindergartners, right, 4-year-olds have been presenting misogynistic views. 4-year-olds.
No,
4-year-olds.
sexist. They didn't say misogynistic.
Yeah,
they said sexist.
They said sexist. The 4-year-olds are showing sexist behavior.
Yeah.
Which is an insane thing.
4-year-olds.
In the first place.
What were they doing? Ew, cooties? Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
What article was this that you read?
Let me bring that up.
Bring it up. Bring it up. I can't understand that. Okay, so basically what had happened was these 4-year-olds were displaying sexist behavior, right? So they have taken all of the kindergarten teachers, or this was proposed, like they didn't do it, but they had proposed doing this, taking all the kindergarten teachers and teaching them new ways to cut out that behavior in the kids.
And like we got one from the
controversial program to stop sexism and gender stereotyping in 4-year-olds has come under fire from education experts. Good!
Yeah, because
that was a horrible idea from the get-go. It comes under fire. Hooray!
Like, thousands of early childhood educators will be taught to eliminate gender norms and inequality in Victorian kindergartens. Like, again, these are kids. This is basically saying, like, sort of like, let's not let these kids grow and
Program
develop.
aims to reduce domestic violence by promoting respectful relationships. Domestic violence? What? What?
This is nuts. Okay, just like some background about it. The point of the whole thing is, again, like, sort of to fight sexism and to fight domestic violence. We're going to think
What
about this.
sexist behavior are they showing?
Listen,
them?
we're going to indoctrinate 4-year-olds into a specific political agenda at the point, right? That there should be like zero difference between men and women, or I don't even know what the point they're trying to make here is. But think how crazy this is. Like, is this liberalism or is it fascism that you're teaching? And it says here, a tender to train 4,000 early childhood educators during the next year has warned that children as young as 4 can show signs of sexist behavior. So they're training educators to weed out this behavior that just people don't like and get rid of it in 4-year-olds instead of just letting them develop and think about their whole things. And, you know, let's take a step further. Let's say that kid grows up to be like a misogynistic, racist piece of crap. So what?
But that's not. Oh, puppy.
Oh. He has every right to be. Nobody can say, oh, you can't do that. You can't think like that. Because this isn't sort of, I don't know, confronting 4-year-olds against their opinions and talking to them. This is just rooting it out. Just telling the kid, like, you know, this behavior you're doing right now, you cannot do it. You can't talk this way and you can't think this way. This reminds me of, like, Orwell's 1984 a lot more than it does any liberal or socialist agenda. Like, this is nuts. And there's another thing.
I can understand kind of the mindset of people, because it's like, you know, you're trying to make the world a better place, but it's like, I don't know. I have nothing. That it's mind-boggling to me. Wow. It's ridiculous. And they're looking at the wrong place too. They're trying to weed these kids off of it, but it's like, look at the home. How are the parents treating these kids? What's going on?
Exactly.
And what's going on in their home life?
The point to be made here, it
fix
doesn't
that
matter
from the get-go.
It doesn't matter what you think is right. It doesn't matter what your, I don't know, current government or political agenda or like the current swing of things says you should do. That doesn't give you the right to sort of take kids and indoctrinate to your own specific viewpoint. A kid can grow up to be whatever he wants and make his own decisions, and I honestly think not even parents can like sit down a kid and force him into some kind of opinion. Like, think about it. That sounds bad. If parents sit down a kid and say, okay, from now on, you're going to work in this and that, you're going to study this and that, you're going to associate with these people, you're going to think these things, you're going to have these political views. That sounds fucked up, right? But what if a government does it? That's fine. Like, where's the point here? And it kind of goes further than that. Like, there's a whole thing in universities that they're trying to discourage words that have the word man in them, which is just fucking stupid. Like, university distributes language guide that discourages using words with man in them.
Oh, what is this? Oh no, this is the Blaze. Oh, get this out of here. The Blaze is not reputable.
Is it? Whoops. Yeah, that's not bad. There we go. Daily Mail. That's better.
Daily Mail. Okay.
Kinda.
Like a step up.
And again, so
it's not history, it's herstory.
And this is I want to make a point. This is Princeton, right? So this isn't like some, I don't know, backwater or shitty university. This is a well-reputed university. Princeton orders staff to stop using the term man as part of a ban on gendered words to make college more inclusive. Now, again, it doesn't matter.
What about the policeman officer?
It's police person now.
It's police person. What about bird person?
It's person.
person.
And again,
did you just assume my species?
Without even going into this whole article, just that headline. A ban on gendered words. Let's put the gendered part away from that because that doesn't really matter. A ban on words.
Well, it kind of does matter because
but the bottom line is they're banning words. They're telling universities now. University, out of every about any aspect of life is a place where people need to have that ability to broaden their horizons and talk about politics and talk about their opinions and develop that and develop as intellectuals and as academics.
Not anymore, apparently.
To further on, like, be the people that make these differences in a country.
But now they're just kind of turning into these echo chambers.
Like, the whole point of university, and like I go to university myself, is to open up your perspectives, to talk to people that don't think the same way you do, that aren't from the same hometown, that aren't from the same group of friends, that can think things that infuriate you. But you sit there and you listen to that and you deal with it and you learn something from that. That is one of the main points of university, to broaden your horizons, to see other aspects of life that you didn't see before. And now they're banning words. This really sounds like sort of like the Communist Union to me. That like you can't talk about, and like again I'm Russian, so my family told me about this, you couldn't talk about specific topics in school. You couldn't talk about America, you couldn't say capitalism is good, you couldn't speak badly of the communist regime. Those things were banned. There were things that you were banned from saying because the government doesn't agree with you saying that, right?
It's kind of happening again in Russia as well with everything that's been going on. You know, the certain things you can't say about Putin.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's that picture of Putin as the clown that has been circulating around.
And now
people have been going to jail for that.
And now it's illegal to post pictures of Putin as a clown. But that's like the same level of ridiculousness if you think about it. You're banning words from university. That is the last place you should ban. If it's a workplace, alright, and you have like some sort of HR kind of thing, there's a problem, whatever, you say like, okay, you can't see these certain words.
You don't want to get sued.
Whatever, okay, that makes sense. I don't know, it's like, even with YouTube, like over demonetizing things and putting like harder restrictions on channels and like auto-triggering specific words that may be controversial, that makes sense because that is a financial platform. University isn't a financial platform. It's a platform.
It kind of is a financial platform.
It is, no, but when you're looking like at the UK...
It's making money for the education board.
Of course, everything in the end of the day is making money, but the whole point of university isn't to make money for university. The whole point of university...
Yes, now it is. But that's a completely different subject. Yeah. We'll probably get on in a later video. If you guys want to listen to us bitch about that...
We'll be having a bitch about it anyway.
Yeah, sure. No problem. We're Jews. We complain about things. That's what we do. It's literally in our DNA. We have the samples to prove it.
And again, this is just troubling. And it's like, it's not an insulated incident. It's just sort of like this...
Isolated.
Is it insulated?
You said insulated.
Isolated.
It is very warm. This incident is very warm. It is very good insulation.
Important for winter.
Important for winter. Which is only time in Russia.
I know, and like you can see a trend here, because like in the United States you have like far left organizations, like the whole thing with Milo, they're shutting him up, and they're shutting up PewDiePie. Doesn't matter what the reasons are at this point, but like that is what's happening, and you have YouTube channels that are...
Although those jokes that PewDiePie did make were probably in bad taste. Hilarious! They were pretty funny.
Probably. Like, again, I watch him pretty regularly because I do think he is funny. At no point was I like offended. Honestly, even though like there's a Hitler imagery in him, I honestly found it funny because I'm looking at him like he's not serious. He's just making a joke because it's provocative.
Yeah.
And that is not a good enough reason to shut somebody up. Nothing is a good enough reason to shut somebody up completely and say you can't talk anymore. And now it's like
and then attack their livelihoods on top of that.
But it's the whole spectrum. You have them sort of let's call it attacking, because it is attacking. They're attacking kids, and they're attacking universities. And in the United States, there were a couple of universities. I read about that today in the morning, actually, that have a mandatory diversity class. Right, you have to take it, and the gist.
Which university was this?
I'm going to find it and I'm going to bring it up.
What is it, like UCLA or something? Because that place is bonkers.
And the whole point of it was in...
Diversity Class US.
Let's see.
Okay. General Education, University of Nebraska, Omaha. Wait, really? In Nebraska? Come on, guys.
Iowa apparently has this thing going.
Well, Iowa, they had the diversity class just because they only have corn over there, so they needed something. I'm kidding.
Just one in
Of course.
Pennsylvania. Like
I
this
love
is,
Iowa. One of my favorite bands are from Des Moines.
This is widespread. Now, the basic gist of it, diversity, right? It's like blame white people and look how misfortunate every other non-white, I don't know, ethnic group is. And this is
Non-white ethnic group?
Yeah. Just
Are there
everybody
white
non-white.
ethnic
Like
groups?
it's not specifically, I don't know, African Americans or.
Are Jews considered white ethnic groups?
I don't think we are.
I'm kidding.
I honestly don't think we are.
I'm kidding. We
And
shouldn't.
it's kind of like this is like you're teaching that kid, so like
Cultural
they're trying
diversity
to.
in the U.S. required cross-cultural analysis required to aim to develop students' knowledge of the history, dynamic cultural systems, and heterogeneous populations that make up the national culture of the United States. Okay. Oh well.
No, that's right. Like through historical inquiry, the study of cultural expressions, and the analysis of social data, students will develop their ability to examine issues of diversity with a focus on race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, class, and religion.
I can understand how this class is a thing, but to make it mandatory? Is it mandatory? Where did you see that it was mandatory?
Cultural diversity and the use of requirement.
Oh, in the U.S. requirement right there. Huh.
And the point of it is, it's sort of like you're not teaching, I don't know, like specific issues. It's like, even if you're reading for that point, it's just like saying white people versus everybody else. They're pushing this sort of agenda that white people are to blame. I don't even know how to put it, but so there is an agenda here because it's mandatory. And it kind of follows up with the whole liberal thing, and that follows up with the whole thing SJWs have been doing, and it's been following up with attacks on people, specifically it's following up with what's happening in Victoria, Australia. It's like this sort of like this collective agenda to, I don't have another word for it, indoctrinate people into the current liberal, I feel bad calling it liberal, but the current, whatever the fuck that is, agenda.
The current whatever the fuck.
I don't know, like, I'm liberal. Liberalism is about the individual, it's about personal rights. But personal rights have been taken away. Like, those 4-year-old kids, I can't believe I'm saying this not in North Korea, but the rights of these 4-year-old kids for individualism have been taken away. Well, attempted to, at least. By the government. Not by some fringe group, not by some individual, not by some, I don't know, group of people trying to do something specific. The government itself. And then you have in universities, people are being shut up. And at the same time, you have mandatory diversity classes basically talking about what kind of crap other ethnic groups or gender groups or whatever have been going through. Why is that mandatory? Honestly, why is that mandatory? I don't understand. Let's say I'm going to, I don't know, I study engineering or I study biology. That is not relevant to what I'm studying. It isn't. Why is it mandatory to take that? Again, like, what's the agenda here? Why are all these things happening at the same time? And it kind of like it all connects with the media thing, and
It's all connected, man.
it is all connected, and it's troubling. It's honestly very troubling. Like, I've been reading up about this a lot lately, and it's like it's like
Really?
a trend.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, me talking non-stop isn't a good ending.
Do you have an opinion on this, please? Let me know. Let the world know.
I may have an opinion about
I may. And we laugh about it. Yeah, we're jovial, but it is a serious situation because people aren't looking at it.
Yeah, because
You know,
again, I like
we're just kind of following it. We're not following. We're falling into this spiral. And where it leads, nobody knows, but you can kind of infer. 1984.
No, and like I'm troubled because like I heard stories from like my grandparents who lived in communist Russia, right, about how things were there, and they both went to university and whatever. And that's kind of how it was. If you speak out against the government or the governmental agenda, you get shut up way quick. Like the repercussions were a lot worse than right now. But still, it was the same thing, and kids were taught specific things like sort of like the Soviet Union is the best and capitalism sucks and you can't talk about capitalism and communism is the best from an early age, from kindergarten. They were indoctrinated, there's no other word for it, and like they're talking about it, like my grandparents. Not as like this fun, funny thing, it was horrifying to people. You were scared to speak your mind. like there was things my grandma told me, for example, there was something called roughly translated like the Black Crows or something. Черный ворон was called. It was in a song about
Черный ворон?
Yes, Black Crow. And it was just like this kind of thing that if you spoke out against the government, this was like in Stalin's days, right? Like later on, it kind of
you get blackbagged and taken away.
Yeah, and like you can just like call.
You ever see
like,
V for Vendetta?
You hate your neighbor. You call up on your neighbor. You say like, oh, he's saying like anti-communist things, and he fucking disappears in the middle of the night. And that kind of like, and again, like that started off as this sort of, as pretty much as this is starting off, that people weren't allowed to say certain things. There were certain subjects you weren't allowed to discuss. There were certain opinions you quote unquote had to have. And education worked in a very specific way to forward this. And even from like a young age of kindergarten, kids were taught to follow this agenda, right? And that led to that eventually. And that's not too far what's happening, like with Antifa, for example, right?
Do you really want to open up that Pandora's box?
I'm going to say a couple words about it. Because
we're pretty far down the rabbit hole as it is.
And the thing about that is, it's kind of like, okay, so like they say they're this sort of a left organization, they're socialist, liberal, some of them even say they're communist, and at the same anarchist, which is funny because it's like completely opposite things.
Like the guy with the tattoos?
Yeah, there's like a guy with the tattoo of anarchism and like the sign of anarchism and the sign of communism. That's two completely opposite things. Like, what the hell? But they're like sort of like turning into this, I don't know, physical branch of this whole thing. And like they're going to rallies and attacking, before the election results, they were attacking actually attacking Trump supporters and attacking police officers in the name of socialism, liberalism, and communism. Like if you connect the dots here, this is going down a very, very troubling path. I mean, what's the end game? What's gonna happen eventually? You already got people like with their free speech taken away. You already got universities putting bans on words. You already got suggestions. Like it's insane. It's even a suggestion for kids to be taught what the correct way to act to people is and what the correct political agenda is and whatnot. And you have individuals attacked by mainstream media, not by individuals or not by somebody who works there, but as parts of articles from the mainstream media. This is troubling. This honestly is troubling.
Carmen wants to say a few words. Carmen, what do you think?
Carmen's the dog and she woke up.
What do you think about the social situation in America and the world today? It was very insightful. Thank you, Carmen.
It's very insightful. Do you want to cut it off?
No, we'll do like a little outro, I suppose. Because that kind of stops abruptly, no?
Yeah.
We'll edit this section out.
Mm-hmm.
So, in conclusion, after ranting for like an hour, the better part of an hour, yeah, Roman has a lot of opinions.
I do have a lot of opinions.
And we understand that. I too have opinions, but I try to be, I don't know, a little more lighthearted, I suppose. I'm here to balance things out in the end.
Yeah, I'm the crazy one, Tony.
You're the crazy one. No. We're all crazy in our own beautiful ways.
Yeah, and like a point to make about this also in conclusion, that even if you don't agree with what I'm saying or what Ruben's saying, or you do agree or it doesn't matter, this is the point of creating a narrative. Like if somebody comes up to me afterwards, out of the 4 viewers we get on this video, and it's like, hey, I don't
specifically 4. If we get more than 4 viewers, I'm gonna be pissed. It's like 5. Fuck!
If you're number 5, just stop.
Just stop. It's time to stop. Shout out to my boy Filthy.
And the point is, like, if you want to debate me on it, if you don't disagree, if you have, I don't know, if you want to give me shit for whatever I have to say, you want to say, like, it's unbased or whatever, go ahead. That's the point. That's the point of creating a debate. That's the point of creating a conversation.
And it's YouTube. It's all about talking shit in the comments, baby.
Exactly.
Let us know. Talk all of the shit. say how much of a closed-minded jackasses we are. Please, I love it.
You know, the first
off of it.
trolling comment we get, I'm gonna like print out and frame. I'm not even kidding.
You'd have to do it with actually the first one, because you can't say that like in the first hour all the trolling comments we're gonna frame, because it's gonna cover a wall.
Just the first one. First person to troll me gets it framed and hung on my wall.
Yeah, and we'll take a picture of it and we'll send it to you, and then you can be super duper proud of yourself.
All right. So in conclusion,
let us know what you guys think. I know it was a lot of information. Like we covered a lot of subjects. This video went on twice as long as it was supposed to.
honestly, yeah.
Honestly, though, we might edit a little bit of it. I guess I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, let us know, people, and have a lovely day.